we must confront, something that we must face. All of us have an Adamic nature that has been put to sleep, that has supposedly been crucified. But every now and then, if we are not as spiritual minded as we ought to be, it resurrects itself from the spiritual dead. Don't let anybody make you feel inferior because you do have some fights and some warrings and some struggles. In fact, it is a sign that you are growing closer to God, because the closer I get to God, the greater the spiritual conflict becomes. Anytime I become a terror to the kingdom of darkness, he is going to come against me with everything that he has. But greater is he on the inside of me than he that's in the world. We want to be empowered to become, then we're going to have to stop perpetrating, and we're going to have to deal with the reality that all of us at one time or another must come to grips with our own transparency. You have want to exegete tonight. I just want you to touch someone next to you and ask them, say, do you know God? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Look them in their face and ask them the question, do you know God? I didn't say, do you know how to have church? I said, do you know God? I didn't say, did you know how to function in a church environment? I said, did you know God? I didn't ask, did you know how to usher? Did you know how to sing on the choir? Did you know how to be a part of any church auxiliary? Do you know God? I'm not talking about the apparatuses of the church. I'm talking about having a relationship with God that transcends just working in the church. Do you know God? Now, making that type of statement by way of asking a question, then what comes under attack is some of our traditional theological perspectives by way of feeling that if you speak in tongues, that is the barometer to measure someone's salvation. Let the wrong people speak into your head. See, we are apostolics. That means we believe that there is no other name given under heaven whereby one must be saved, but at the name of Jesus, every knee must bow, every tongue must confess that he is Lord. I don't care how ecumenical we become. I don't care who we let come and minister. The bottom line is, I'm not going to waver from my doctrine and from my teaching. Now, come on, y'all gotta help me now. That does not mean that we are such an elite group that we cannot be the salt of the earth. See, the problem with most of us, we feel like we so preferred that we don't know how to reach outside and grasp somebody else in. If you that holy, why don't you go get somebody and lay your hands on them? If you that holy, why don't you speak life into somebody else, but don't let them get in your head. Samuel, nothing is going to touch that head. Never. And it's different from the Nazarite prohibition found in Numbers chapter number 6. Right back to Eli. And this is a principle that most of us don't learn. God would never sit you under anybody and then circumvent a principle that he puts in the earth to tell you anything. If God calls you to an assignment, he goes by who he puts over you first. How you gonna come to me and tell me, I feel like God called me to preach? How you gonna come and tell me what you think God called you to do without God first revealing it to me first? Come on, out the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. That's why we so much out of order. We don't want to sit under anybody. You don't want to hear anybody. Oh God, I'm going to get in trouble up in here now. He is the presiding prelate of this Reformation. He is the dominant voice in your life. I don't care who was here before him. He is now the man of God for you. If you don't want to hear him, why sit up in here and curse your life? You can't go any further if you don't go through the right process. You got to submit to your Eli. And some of y'all are so busy living in the past, you can't hear what your Eli today is trying to tell you. And if you don't like that Eli, get your stuff, pack your bag.